property crime decreased 10%. A little thrown off there. All thefts have decreased 3%. We continue to move in the right direction, and I always like to take the time out to thank the men and women of the Milwaukee Police Department for contributing to this downward direction. We're seeing some increases in human trafficking at 11%, robbery at 2%, and carjacking at 10%. We do not take these upticks lightly. I would note, increases in human trafficking cases indicate that more individuals are coming around and forward in regards to their particular situation, and we're pleased to see that victims are placing trust in us to report these crimes. We're continuously monitoring the robbery and carjacking increases. While auto thefts are down, we know that previously engaged in auto thefts now have moved on to carjackings. Anecdotally, we know that crews have been coming from Chicago targeting high-end vehicles in the county and our surrounding areas. MPD has coordinated our investigations with Illinois law enforcement and have seen results with this collaboration. I want to stress this in regards to carjackings. This is a crime of opportunity. Again, carjackings are a crime of opportunity. Often those engaged in this behavior target victims who are not paying attention to their surroundings or may be distracted. Walking, driving, or parked waiting, I want to encourage everyone, get off your phone. Yes, I said that. Get off your phone. Be aware of your particular surroundings. As we all know that no one should ever be a victim of a crime, nor is it ever a victim's fault if they're targeted, but we need to make sure that we make it harder for the criminals. Be vigilant. Pay attention to your surroundings. Target hardening makes it harder for criminals to do bad things. Let's make criminality as hard as possible so we're able to keep our community safe. We continue to see an alarming number of adolescents and young adults involved in firearm-related violent acts. As a parent, this makes my heart hurt. These acts must stop. MPD works with a number of partners to prevent and deter this type of dangerous behavior. But let me be clear, MPD arrests when necessary. I continue to prioritize holding parents and guardians accountable for their young ones. Know where your kids are, know who they spend time with, and know where they are at night. We have to understand that it's illegal for anyone under the age of 18 to possess firearms. If you're an adult with firearms, keep them safely stored and away from your young ones. Talk to your kids. As you know, the RNC is right around the corner. MPD has worked with federal, state, county, local agencies over the past 2 years to prepare for this moment. I assure you we have a solid operational plan and we are fully prepared for the event. I've had a team dedicated to the plan of this event for over a year, and they have worked tirelessly every day to ensure the safety of this event and our city. I want to emphasize that MPD's commitment during this time is to keep our entire community safe. We serve every neighborhood in Milwaukee, and that continues to be our commitment next week and every day after. As a reminder, every person who lives, works, and plays in Milwaukee is an important part of public safety. If you have any information regarding criminal activity, contact the Milwaukee Police Department, or if you'd like to remain anonymous, contact Crime Stoppers at 414-224-TIPS. All the work we do involves our community partners. I've said it many times, we cannot do this alone. As you see, I'm standing with the mayor, standing with the Director of Office of Community Safety and Wellness. It's important that we understand that we're together better and that we must work together to keep our community safe. Thank you. Now I'll bring the mayor up to say a few words.
Great. Thank you so much, Chief. Appreciate your partnership. Once again, crime numbers in Milwaukee are showing a really positive movement. Milwaukee is a safer city. I'll observe that there are some individuals on the national stage who drive a false narrative that this city, and not just this city, but others around the country, are crime-ridden and horrible places. I can say we're a safer city than we were last year, and a much safer city than what we were just 2 years ago. So as the chief indicated, we are indeed headed in the right direction. But as also the chief indicated, now is not the time to relax. it's never the time to relax. As I said from this podium last time I was here, we don't tire, we can't tire, we won't tire, we never tire, and we will not. So we'll continue to apply the approach that we've been applying, a combination of both accountability as well as prevention to drive those numbers even lower as we continue to move forward here. I want police to continue to enforce the law. I want them to solve crimes, and I want residents to work together to build greater safety in neighborhoods all across Milwaukee. And I want our Office of Community Wellness and Safety to continue to develop preventative strategies, intervention approaches here in Milwaukee too. I'm seeing many Milwaukee residents who are joining in the efforts, making our city safer. I see that in neighborhoods that I visit all across Milwaukee when I get the chance to visit neighborhoods all over the city. When people get involved, when they organize, when they build safety, then crime in their neighborhoods go down. Let me repeat that again. When people get involved, when you organize, when you build safety together, then crime in your neighborhoods and across our city tends to go down. It may be anecdotal, but it does seem that in some of the more recent weeks, we have seen an uptick in homicides. I know the police department is monitoring that. And as I said here at this podium again about 3 months ago, we need to look more than just at the statistics because these are human beings, these are human lives, and everyone standing here is committed to protecting human life. So let's be clear. Firing guns is never, ever, ever a way to settle, to solve a dispute. People need to use their brains and not their trigger fingers in order to solve the anger issues that they may have. For those in the front lines of public safety in the Milwaukee Police Department, Office of Community Wellness and Safety, and other law enforcement community agencies, I say thank you. Let's keep up the good work so we continue building on the successes that we've had and make a safer city for all. Thank you. With that, I'm going to ask Ashanti Hamilton, the Director of Milwaukee's Office of Community Wellness and Safety, to take the mic.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, it's a little dreary in here for us to be sharing some level of good news that we are trending in the right direction. And while we are trending in the right direction, we are doubling down on trying to be optimistic about the next 2 quarters, because we want the next 2 quarters to be the best 2 quarters of this year. And so in order to reach those goals, we're going to reiterate our commitment to community engagement efforts with partners and stakeholders across the city. I want to echo the statements of the chief and the mayor in thanking both our frontline first responders and the police department, as well as the number of community partners who have stepped forward to take an active role in taking some responsibility for public safety in their communities. We also want to acknowledge the recent community calls for there to be safety and security and the respect for life across the city. So whether we're talking on the south side, downtown, or North Milwaukee, the hope is no killing. It has been clear that the devastating effect of violence on families, on neighborhoods, and city development in general is pushing a more collaborative effort to maintain safety in our city. And that includes institutional partnerships as well as communal partnerships. So as we continue to do that, we want to make the resources available to communities so that they are armed with the necessary information in order to make the next 2 quarters the best quarters of the year. We want to reiterate, the hope is no killing in the city of Milwaukee. And that is our goal, and that's what we're striving for. And I appreciate the partnership of both the mayor and the police chief in pulling in broad sectors of the city of Milwaukee to participate in this effort. So, thank you, Chief.
Thank you. This time we'll take questions.
We'll start in the left over there, and like I said, let's keep it to the first line in regards to the data, and then we'll get into the other stuff, okay?
Yeah, so Chief, I know you mentioned Crime Stoppers. Can you talk a little bit more about the impact of Crime Stoppers and kind of the community responsibility to come forward when you do know something?
So Crime Stopper is one of many tools that we can have to connect with our community. This is a platform where you can be anonymous. You have the ability to receive a monetary reward for passing on information. This is another tool to be utilized in regards to communicating with our department or our various partners. This is another opportunity to let people know there are so many different spaces to be able to share information. We all know that there is a concern about ramifications, about someone having retaliatory whatnot, and this is a anonymous, or you can make yourself known, but it in my eyes, gives no one excuses of not being engaged or being involved. It means that there is so many different venues for you to be able to connect with us or respective partners. Now the onus is on you, ensuring that safety is not just a Milwaukee Police thing, or Office of Community Wellness and Safety, or the Mayor's Office. It's an us thing. And so it is important that we continue to put out there, you know, the various particular type of platforms, various type of tools to be able to connect. Crime Stoppers is one of them.
Chief, you mentioned carjackings are a crime of opportunity here in the city. Would you consider an opportunity large-scale events downtown? And if so, are you doing anything to monitor that as we have tens of thousands of people coming into the city over the next week or so?
So obviously that's a concern in regards to that this is a large-scale event where that would draw others. But this is not just specific to this particular event or this particular area. It's all across our city. I will say this, those who are carjackers are really horrible at it. We catch them. We catch them. You're not going to get away with it for long. It's unfortunate in regards to it hasn't happened in the first place, but let this be known. There are no long-term carjackers in our city. So I'm telling people right now, you engage in that behavior, you're going to get caught. You're going to be held accountable. We need to continue to lean in and ensure that our young ones are engaged. Give you an anecdotal story. My son, he's working this summer, started back in May. He's a landscaper. Works down at Summerfest. He's actually working more hours because there's other people not showing up for work. There is no excuse to not be engaged. There's no excuse to have young ones not involved in something. The mayor has Camp Rise. You know, the library has reading programs. There's something for everyone. So we want to engage in those behaviors. It's unacceptable, and I don't believe in those excuses. And so as we're dealing with this particular event, it is responsible for all of us to be vigilant. But as I said at the ending of my particular statement here, I, as the CEO of this department, am concerned about the entire city. The behaviors are not only within these four corners of our particular city, it's going outside, counties and everything else in regards to these particular type of behaviors, which is unacceptable on all levels. And as we are responsible for the data intelligence we're receiving, it's important for us to put it out, which I appreciate the media giving us this platform. Be aware of your surroundings. Don't just, think that, there is no opportunity in your particular respective places. There's individuals that we got intelligence saying they see someone who is casing them or, going around, and you get that squiggly feeling, but they still go about their business as there's nothing going on and end up getting, unfortunately, carjacked. That's unacceptable. We need to make sure that we're doing everything we can to lean in and be responsible while we are still leaning in ourselves, ensuring that we hold people accountable. Like the mayor said, we want to prevent. This is the best way to prevent when you're being more vigilant as a individual in our city, but we're also holding people accountable in regards to those type of behaviors because it's not acceptable.
Do you have a question? No, David?
Yeah, question for stats first, right?
Yeah, stats first.
I wanted to quick ask about the homicide clearance rate. I think Q1 it was something like 83%, so it seemed like a slight dip now to 74%. What do you attribute that to?
So as we all know, the unfortunate thing is we're still dealing with our homicides, and it is a investigatory, heavy particular type of situation. I will say that we have some clearances on deck. I know that we're still dealing with incoming cases, so that is unfortunately a matter of just being able to stay ahead of it. But we have a really great homicide team. We have a really great collaboration between the homicide team and also other investigators and also our frontline officers. But also it's nice to hear the response coming from the community to assist us. So there is a little bit of a dip, but I'm not concerned in regards to that. We're definitely heading in the right direction. Hello.
Well, homicides have increased by 18%. You have said that there are youth-related crimes. Is there something the community could be doing to at least lower youth-related homicides?
So, as talked about in some of the opening points, one, I keep saying this and we'll keep on saying this, our young ones are not purchasing these guns out of stores. They're being taken out of cars, left secured, being taken out of homes as unsecured. So there's a responsibility on all of us as adults to be responsible with our firearms. The second part of it is there's too much opportunity in the city. I know the mayor can talk a little bit more about those things in regards to that. There's something for our young ones to do. Whether it's a Boys and Girls Club of Greater Milwaukee, Camp Rise, there's something to do. As guardians and parents, it's important for us to not accept our children just sitting around doing nothing. We need to make sure they're busy. I've said this many, many times. If we don't make sure our kids are engaged and busy, they'll find something to do with that free time. And you might not like what they're going to choose. So it's important for us to understand the opportunities that we have in our community. The things, we have Empower, the Milwaukee Police Athletic League. Again, Camp Rise. We have so many different things in regards to opportunities for our children. Let's get them engaged. Ensure that they are being out there doing things in a positive manner. I don't know if you want to say anything.
Yeah, no, thank you, Chief. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've said time and again that this is a resource-rich community. It really is a resource-rich community. And outside of the stuff that the Chief talked about, I mean, there are opportunities, with Office of Community Wellness and Safety, our traditional Summer Youth Jobs program, Earn and Learn. We've got the largest Boys and Girls Club Association, not just in Wisconsin, not just in the Midwest, in the United States of America, right here in Milwaukee. And those organizations want to reach out and serve kids in our community. So there's not really an excuse for not having your kid engaged in something. There's not an excuse for young people not to be engaged with something. The Chief mentioned PAL, the United Neighborhood Centers of Milwaukee, with agencies all across our city. We work to compile information that young people can do each and every single summer. We started this, I think, 2 years ago, an initiative that I launched in my administration called Hello Summer, where we compile that, and it's on the city's website, and so media can use that to help to get the word out to parents and mentors and caregivers around the city to let young people know about all the resources that we have in this community. I just want to repeat just one last time, we are resource-rich in Milwaukee. We are a resource-rich community, especially when it comes to opportunities for kids, and folks should take us up on it, because these organizations, they want to serve kids.
Chief, you talked extensively about the carjackings. You talked a little bit about how people can, get off their phone and try to prevent those carjackings. We saw one a couple weeks ago that led to the interstate shooting with some of your officers. Are there certain areas that are being targeted in the city? Are there certain types of cars, certain people who are at higher risk than others?
So I wish I could say that there was that level of focus or a level of just a pinpoint. It's not. This is not only, again, it's difficult to talk about these particular type of trends, but it's a trend going across our nation. There was just reported over in D.C., 2 U.S. Marshals who were sitting on, protective detail was attempted carjacking by a young adult. Ended up getting shot in that situation. So this is a conversation that our community needs to continue to ask, like, what's going on here, that our young ones, don't get it wrong, it's not just teenagers, young adults are taking this particular type of behavior like it's a game, like this is something that's really going to pay dividends. 2 things are going to come out of those who are involved in carjackings. Arrest, which we're really good at. Even that situation you're talking about, the Officer of Office shooting, that was only a couple hours later. Or death. Those are not great options. So what we need to ask as a community is, what's going on here? Why are our children taking on this risk knowing that there's no dividends? Now, there are some trends that we talked about in regards to high-end vehicles. You know, we know that some of the vehicles that are called SRT, street ready or trail, whatever, something like that, I'm not great with these acronyms, have a little bit of a desire from those who are, you know, unfortunately, you know, coming from other communities. We're aware of that. We're communicating with our law enforcement partners. But really, there is really no actual pattern besides when we do the intel, they're looking for someone who's not paying attention. Taking groceries out your car, sitting at, you know, a particular place and your phone with your, you know, your buried into your phone or on your iPad. You know, vigilance is absolutely one of the key points of making sure that this is not going to be an easy situation for those who want to bring harm to you. But it is a, you know, again, on the side of our community, what are we doing with our kids? And you know, great to see Director Hamilton again, you know, the mayor in regards to the efforts that's being done respectively. But you know how that saying goes, you know, can bring the horse to water, but you can't force the horse to drink. You know, that's where our parents, our guardians, our community, our extended family encourage our kids to take opportunities, these particular, you know, offerings, because these are the things that they're getting into in regards to that. They are using their time, you know, just unfortunately troubling and challenging in regards to that. This is not something that anybody should be drawn to.
Yes, as you mentioned, Chief, obviously with seeing the number of gun violence happening often right now, or we're seeing it more often right now. Obviously that's something that hurts several parents as well. Obviously many of them being concerned about their teenager safety, their kids' safety. So what can you tell these families that are concerned about that? And what efforts or proactive approaches is MPD doing to kind of help ensure that their kids are safe or that their families are safe?
You try to get a rise at me. I'm going to keep it. MPD understands our role, but I always like to remind our public in regards to our main prime directive. We are law enforcement. The things that we do, understand that we're part of the community, whether you have the IMPAL, whether you have a number of different communications that we do, which we do well and we are always leaning into. It is important to understand that there are so many other resources, which many times, and me is very good about putting that out there, but that is that hand, that olive branch being extended to our community, especially those who are parents and guardians, to do their part. We talked about some of the programs with the Milwaukee Library or you know, some of our community members in regards to, you know, the Boys and Girls Club of America, Greater Milwaukee or the YMCA. There are things out there that we as a community now step up and make sure that we are taking our children to these particular opportunities, ensuring they're engaged. You know, again, as a parent, I'm engaged with my children, and yes, it's hard. Parenting is not easy, but there is no lack, just like the mayor said, of resources to assist in that parenting. That there is opportunities for our young ones to make sure that they are engaged in more positive things than being, you know, sitting around and not engaging in things because they're not being either encouraged or sometimes you gotta take them by the arm and bring them over there. But as we always said, and we say this and collectively, do something. Do something. Parenting is not easy. There is no parent out there who would say, I got this. But that's part of parenting. So it's important for us to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to engage our kids, to give them the type of, you know, support, and also to push them to these resources that are out there that are willing and waiting for them to come.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and we've talked about this here. I just want to reiterate as well that when somebody pulls a trigger and shoots somebody and hurts somebody, there's a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Folks should understand that. Folks should understand that. You know, when you hurt somebody, you're not just hurting that person that you're feuding with or whatever. You end up, first of all, if they get shot, if they get hurt, that's a scar for life. That's going to affect them for life. And then if worse, you kill them, if a person kills someone else, that affects their children. It affects their siblings, their friends. It affects their parents. It's an entire ripple effect throughout their entire family and our entire community. So folks should understand that. And when somebody pulls the trigger, and it's not just kids, right? I think all of us, we should carry that message forward. These are not just teenagers doing this.
Right.
When I get text messages late at night from the Milwaukee Police Department and from Director Hamilton, and we're on the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm looking at the details, usually it's some young man who is near my age, or is some young adult, somebody who absolutely knows better. So folks should understand that, right? That there's a ripple effect, and these young people, especially if it's somebody my age or a young adult over 18, chances are they're living with somebody. They're probably living with a parent or somebody, and folks should be holding them accountable. The same things that we use, right? A combination of both accountability and prevention. And the question was asked about the incident where officers ended up having to draw their weapons in that chase on the interstate. I saw the news story where the young man's father, who was involved in that, just laughed it off. I didn't buy him a car. Nobody in the house bought him a car, and he just ended up with a car. Ha ha ha. That's not funny. That's not funny. The person who you stole that car from, they just experienced trauma. Something was taken from them. And my understanding is they had guns on them when they did that. That's not right to that victim. And when this young man goes home, they have got to be held accountable. You have to grab them by the arm. And the chief talks about this. He's talked about it here. He's talked about it before. All of us are parents. All of us are dads. It's not easy. I got a 13-year-old son, who's a great kid, but sometimes he tests you. I got 6-year-old twin daughters who they think they're the boss of the house. It's not easy, but you got to do it. It's your responsibility as an adult. It's your responsibility as the parent of these young people. It doesn't matter if they're a young adult, they're still your kid. If they're in your house, if they're coming to you, if you know they're doing something wrong, you got to call them on the carpet on that. So folks need to understand that. There's a ripple effect when they hurt somebody, absolutely 100%. And if you see something going on wrong, you got to check it. Because the likelihood is this: if we don't check the people in our family who are doing this, they're going to think that it's okay to continue going out and hurting somebody. And they're going to end up running into the wrong one. They're going to run into the wrong one, and then they're not going to come home. And you're not going to be able to laugh it off, because they're going to be shot and they're going to be dead when they end up catching the wrong one. So folks need to understand that. We don't want that to happen. We want violence to stop, but we need everybody's participation in this. It's not just on Office of Community Wellness and Safety. It's not just on police. It's not just on me. It's on all of us collectively. It's on each and every single one of us collectively. Yeah. Thank you.
Chief, what's going to happen with the protesters for the RNC? They are still planning to march their own route. Will they face arrest?
Give Director Hamilton any love.
I do want to ask Director Hamilton what you're going to be doing, and Mayor, are you going to be joining the protest? So the 3 questions here, please.
So, for one, we understand that there is going to be a number of individuals who want to express their First Amendment right. And I've said this many times, there is going to be patience, and definitely we are going to work as best as we can. But we understand there are going to be limitations, and especially that there will be no tolerance for anything in regards to destruction or violence, especially when it comes to touching someone or doing anything that is, again, a physical type of nature. But I will say that we've had a good track record under this administration of respecting that particular ability to voice your concerns. We know that we have a number of different opportunities, and Director Hamilton can talk about it, and also even the Mayor's office can talk about in regards to giving platforms and having liaisons to work through these particular type of challenges. We all know that there's going to be a number of different challenges in our city, especially in regards to those who want to be able to have their ability to express themselves. I just want to be able to say that we have had a good track record of working cooperatively in regards to allowing that space, and hopefully that olive branch will continue to be taken in regards to that. We are not, out there to, again, instigate anything or to, you know, trying to, I guess you would say, poke the bear. But we want to be able to have a good understanding. Just there's still an event going on. There's still going to be needs for that event going on, and how we can work cooperatively so that basically it's a win-win from both sides.
So if they march that march, which is not the city-approved route, will they face arrest, or you'll let them march that particular route?
So at the end of the day, I don't know what they're going to do. They said so many different things. It is a case-by-case scenario. We know that there is still open dialogue between whether it's my team, Director Hamlin's team, or even the mayor's team, and so we'll take it as it comes. Again, we have a good track record in regards to how we've dealt with these particular type of challenges, but I guess basically they told us that they're going to do what they're going to do, so we got to figure out and see what's going to happen when they're going to do what they're going to do.
I mean, they said they're going to do it, so if they do it, what's MPD's response going to be? I mean, you got the rules of engagement, which suggests tear gas, rubber bullets, audio implementations. Are you going to be utilizing that if they start marching on an unapproved route?
So I just answered you. I know you keep on asking and think it's going to be a different answer. We're going to look at this as a case-by-case scenario. We are going to continue to do what we've been doing in the past, which is having dialogue, understand that there is a right to have the freedom to express yourself. And as we are dealing with this, we'll see in regards to what actually will be done in regards to their route or the behaviors out there.
Yeah, just to add on that first, because I do want to go back to your question too. Just so everybody that is participating in demonstrating and protesting during the RNC, that there is a setup for them to do it safely.
Yeah.
That many community members had some input in that. We worked with the Secret Service, with MPD, the mayor's office, to try to have the best route and the safest route for people to be able to express themselves. So that exists. So there is an option for being able to exercise your freedom of speech and do it in a way that's safe. Many community members and organizers from the city of Milwaukee will be participating and helping to organize that effort at both demonstration zones. So for those people who are looking to be able to express themselves in the safest way possible, that exists for, you know, for all demonstrators. Second thing is, there were some demonstrators who wanted to take the route of the legal route in order to force a different, you know, a different route. That's the route that they took, and that's the avenue that they took in order to be able to get that. So we haven't been recently engaging in that group in particular around their desires. So it's been a sign-up process. Most people who have expressed a desire to both speak or do a protest route have been accommodated. And we're making accommodations even, you know, up to the day. So I think the efforts from the city of Milwaukee has been great in trying to accommodate the needs of folks who want to express themselves during the RNC. But I did want to highlight something that around parental supports that really encompasses what both the mayor and the chief have been saying, not even just today, but this has been an important effort in trying to give families support that they need in order to be able to address some of the complicated issues that families are dealing with, especially when they have high-risk youth that are living in their homes and they may have frayed relationships that make it difficult for them to now, you know, be a traditional parent. You know, so there's a special outreach that we're trying to have for those parents. You know, we launched a Rebuild in the Village effort earlier this summer. We have the Parenting Network as a partner with that really want to focus on parents that want to rebuild these relationships and recognize that they have high-risk youth living in their homes that may you know, be involved in conflicts and, you know, want to bring some support into their home, and using that support structure in order to give them assistance, because sometimes it is difficult. Sometimes it's not as easy if you have frayed relationships, or if you want to re-engage a child that's been free to do some of this stuff before, and now you want to impose some rules, that sometimes you may need some support in doing that. We are prepared to try to help those families, and we're building an infrastructure, broad range of partners and community-based organizations to help engage those families, to help with that effort. So when the mayor says that the city is a resource-rich city, we tapped into those resources to try to build training and support to help those families in particular. So we don't want them to feel ostracized or to feel like they're gonna, get in trouble for reaching out and attempting to help their children change some of the behavior that they're involved in.
Thank you, Chief Director Hamilton. Another prime example of the resource richness of this community. In terms of letting your voice be heard, letting my voice be heard in terms of the politics. I don't want to get too political behind this podium here, but I mean, every single day I'm raising my voice in opposition to what the Republican Party's platform is, and certainly to their nominee, who I think, we can save that for a later time, but suffice it to say, I don't believe should be president of the United States again. So I don't know if I will be joining out there, but I consistently am raising my voice. I think you just retweeted me just the other day, as a matter of fact, about the phone call that I had just last night with President Joe Biden. So, and I'll continue to do that. We're a welcoming host city for this convention because it presents an opportunity to elevate Milwaukee in the national consciousness, globally even as well. I think laying the foundation for us to be able to attract other large-scale events, be they political, because I'd like the DNC to consider coming back here at some point in the future, but political, business, sports, or entertainment in the future, which in turn will help to create a virtuous economic cycle for the people who live and work here and own businesses in Milwaukee. That's ultimately what I want to see, and this is a means to that end.
So we'll take one or two more depending on time, so.
Mayor Johnson, since you were already kind of on the subject, can you talk a little bit more about your call with President Biden yesterday?
Sure, absolutely. So had the opportunity to chat with the president, myself, and other mayors from across the country, and it was a great conversation, upbeat conversation with the president. He did address head-on his debate performance from about a week ago. He acknowledged that it was absolutely not his best performance. It was a challenged performance. But he talked about the things that his administration has been able to accomplish in this term, the past 3.5 years. And mind you, he is still the president of the United States today, running the federal government today. But then he also talked about the things that he seeks to accomplish over the course of the next term, from housing, from child care and senior care, helping to continue to improve health care for folks in the United States, working to make sure that the tax system is fairer for middle-class people in this country, working to make sure that Roe versus Wade, given a favorable Congress, is codified and becomes the law of the land, and then working to make sure, as some of the conversations that we're having right now around public safety, working to make sure that these high-capacity weapons, these weapons of war, don't fall into the hands of people who should not have them, which, by the way, is something I scream at this podium almost every time we come here. There are too many people in this community and across this country who should not have their hands on guns. Not because we want to take people's guns away who are law-abiding citizens and choose to have guns. None of that. There are criminals who have too easy access and just shouldn't have that. The president realizes that and wants to address those things in his next term.
I do have one for both of you, kind of. Mayor, how do you run a city, an entire city, while so many resources are going to be utilized downtown for the next week or so? Chief, how do you police an entire city when so many resources are being utilized downtown?
Well, make no mistake about it. Although the convention itself will happen next week, there's a lot of pressure around the convention today It's been so, all throughout this week, leading up to this week, certainly will be, next week as well. Yet here today we stand just like we do every single quarter, right? So this is a time where the hours will be longer. We have to wear multiple hats. That's exactly what I'm doing now. That's exactly what we'll do, next week when the convention is ongoing in the city as well.
Thank you, Mayor. How we do all this? With help. Lots of help. We have all different type of help locally, statewide, nationwide. So we are pleased to be able to have that type of assistance, and the help from the mayor's office, the governor's office has been very instrumental to ensure that we have that help. But just as the mayor said, even though someone was saying that I was going to be on vacation next week, that's interesting because I won't be here probably, all day and all night. But it is all hands on deck. We all are working, all are expected to work. And that's what we do to ensure not only the safety of the event, but the safety of our city.
Does the having the resources from other cities, other states, nationwide, focus downtown give you guys the opportunity to keep district going, keep district, the neighborhood districts?
And so much more. I mean, we all know the challenge of having so many delegates come in, and we have a lot of different communities helping us. So it's just, again, helping us to be able to have that type of coverage, the extensive coverage it needs for the security not only of this event, but also across the city.
Thank you all.
You said we could all have one question, not about the crime stats.
I said we ran out of time, though, unfortunately.
Okay, well, we have an unarmed black man die on camera. Do you guys have any comment about Devontae Mitchell? I know the family's concerned that the mayor took a week and a half to reach out to them after they went on a radio show yesterday, criticizing the mayor that you hadn't reached out to them. Do you have any comment about that, and any comment about the fact that this is not a criminal investigation when we watched an unarmed black man die on camera with security guards on top of him?
I know that there's an investigation going on right now. I did have the opportunity to speak to the family. Actually did, I forget which media outlet it was. I believe on the 4th of July, I was asked about this and did give comment on it, and talked about my condolences to the family about the loss of life. That's a family member who is no longer with them, and that's a tragedy regardless of how it happens. So I continue to have condolences for the family, and did reach out to them and have a conversation with them just last night. I know even before my own conversation with them, the Office of Community Wellness and Safety in my administration and on my behalf has been in touch with the family as well. Thank you.
Chief, no comment on the criminal
Just to add first, and I don't know what's being reported or how it's being reported, this is a death investigation. Homicide detectives went out to this. This is being reviewed by a district attorney. If it's not something being reviewed in a criminal nature, then why is the DA looking at that? So we need to make sure that we set the record straight in regards to what's going on and who's talking out here in our community. This is still within the medical examiner's office. This is still being reviewed for an autopsy from the standpoint of understanding exactly what happened. So, Milwaukee Police Department has done its part. As I echo the mayor's words, my condolences to the family, because a loss of life is a loss of life. But let's set the record straight so that we don't have unnecessary chatter or things going out there in the community irresponsibly when we all know what the true facts are. Thank you.